If you like bass, you are in the right spot because today we're going to take a look at the Starke Sound SW15P. That's right, their brand new 15-inch ported subwoofer, which is hopefully going to bring the house down. Before we get started, if you're into tech, hi-fi, or movies, be sure to push the subscribe button for new weekly videos. Some of you out there might be scratching your head saying, Starke Sound? Who the heck is Starke Sound? Well, just a little background on them before we dive in. Starke Sound's been around for a while making high-end home theater and 2-channel equipment, but their first certified, more mass market hit was the SW15 subwoofer, a sealed 15, and their claim to fame is that you could buy two for $1,000 when it's on sale. And, you know, while $1,000 is a great deal, if the sub didn't deliver, then it's not really worth it. But the SW15 for $1,000 has been found to be a huge game changer for people. A lot of folks consider it to be the best value in home theater, bar none. Well, this is the follow-up to that, and while it's more expensive, hopefully it'll be worth the money and it'll be another hit for them. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look at this subwoofer. Now, before we do that though, let's take a message from our sponsor. If you use a laptop but don't have a docking station yet, check out the Anker USB-C docking station. Transform your workstation with the Anker USB-C docking station. The SW15P is very much in the vein of the original SW15. It's minimalistic, meaning that it just has the features that you need to produce the output that you want. So there's not a lot of fancy add-ons. There's no app, there's no DSP, none of that kind of stuff. You basically have driver and amplifier. On the front of the sub, you'll see the driver itself, and it's obviously a different driver than what you find in the SW15. This would seem to be an obvious change, as that the design of a ported enclosure is much different than a sealed enclosure, and the driver has to match the design. Coming down from there, you get to the port. So it's not using what some people refer to as precision ports or round ports. It's slot ported, which you see in the RSL subs. You also see in the GSG design. On the rear of the sub, you'll find the amp plate. Again, minimalistic, has just the features that you need. Starting in the left, you've got crossover, phase, and volume control, a power selector for off, on, or auto. Then you get to your inputs. This is a feature that differentiates the Starke subs from other low-cost subwoofers because you have both XLR and RCA inputs. On the RCA side, you have a left and right input as well as a subwoofer in. And then on the XLR side, you have a in and an out. And you can use this to daisy chain subs together if you need to. Beneath that, you have the actual power plug and the master on-off. Now let's talk about the measurements. For those that are joining us for the first time, remember, this is a live in-room measurement, so this is not an anechoic measurement. This is not some measurement done by someone else. This is measurements made in my home theater, the trademarked Jiles McCoy basement home theater, and all the warts associated with in-room measurements. So as you can see, these are all room injected kind of issues, and if you pull that out, you can kind of see you can visualize what the curve would look like. So you know, we started measurements and we're pushing up until we get to compression, and moving on up, everything's looking good. And I got granular here because I knew we were close to the end there. Still looking good. All right, maybe starting to get a little bit of compression here. So you can see at about 15 hertz, you know, at 99 decibels, something's going on. Either the amplifier is putting in a little bit of protection, or things are getting to a limit. And then one more. Okay, you can definitely see that we have now hit the limit here at you know, somewhere around 15, 16 hertz is where things are compressing. So while we can continue to turn the volume up, and you know, the volume out here will get higher once you get past this, you know, 22 hertz or so. You know, things here are going to stick right here, and this is either identification of the subwoofer is saying, okay, enough, no moss, or the amplifier saying, I'm not going to let you do any more, no moss at this level. In any event, this is kind of where you don't want to push past, and every subwoofer has this at some point. So let's take a look and see what we get here on this top measurement before compression or limitation kicked in. So we are doing around 101 decibels, 101.5 decibels at my listening position, which is 9 feet or so from the subwoofer in room, and this is at 22 hertz. So this sub looks like it was designed to really accentuate this lower frequency range, which is kind of nice because this is ported, and a lot of times on ported you'll see fall off really, really hard somewhere, in between 20 and 30 hertz. This subwoofer is solid, down to, in my room, 15 hertz or so, and then from there it starts its trail downward to oblivion, and down here at 10 hertz, you are good 10, 12 decibels underneath what you're looking at. And this matches up pretty well with the specifications on the website, and I would say 15 here, and I think they're calling out 16 or 18 in their specs, so a good match there. On the high side, nothing really remarkable to talk about. A lot of the room starting to take over as you get up past this big hump I have in my room at this one location, and you'll see this in all the measurements. So nothing new here at about 37, 36 hertz. So all in all, a nice and solid effort by the Starke Sound SW15P, particularly giving this subwoofer some low-end extension. So this will be very well suited for anyone's home theater or two-channel work. It's not a sub that you say, it's got some bass, but not really for home theater. This one will do the work that you need in a home theater. So well done, Starke Sound. And now a quick demo of the opening of Bladerunner 2049, one of my favorite tests for subwoofers. This thing drops some big bass, and the Starke SW15P delivers. Check it out. Now for the final thought. All right, so let's talk about the pros and cons of the Starke Sound SW15P. On the pro side, you get a lot of output and a lot of performance for not a lot of money. So when you start looking at that cost versus performance kind of matrix, this thing is going to rise to the top fast. So it gets, 2 thumbs up there. Also, on the back, you've got XLR in and out, which again, for me, is a big deal because I prefer to use only XLR in my system. And at this price point, you don't see this in almost any other subwoofer. I can't think of another one off the top of my head that has this feature, and I really, really like this feature. On the negative side, the subwoofer doesn't have a lot of frills, right? And I guess at this price point, you can't really expect it to, but there's no app, so you can't play with your phone and adjust the different settings and that kind of stuff. And there's no DSP. So basically, what comes into the sub is what comes out of the sub, with the exception of things like phase and volume and that kind of stuff, right? So it's a basic subwoofer that does the basic things that a sub is supposed to do. So if that's enough for you, then this is going to be a compelling purchase. If you need that app for whatever reason, then you might want to look elsewhere. Okay, that brings us to the end of the review. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all those things, and I'll see you in the next adventure.